guys, Chelsea from City Yoga. We're going to go over a couple different ways to use our props if you do not have standard things that we offer at the studio. The first thing is your strap. Now, if you do not have a strap, a couple of things that you could use instead of the strap would be like a kid's jump rope, an extension cord. One that pretty much everyone has is a towel. I have a hand towel here that is sufficient for me, but if you've got really, really tight hamstrings, you might want to go for a longer bath towel instead. So anything with some substance to it that you can kind of pull apart and it's not going to hurt your skin or it's not going to break on you. Okay, and then the other thing would be a bolster. We use this frequently. If you do not have a bolster like this, you could use a couple of your bed pillows. Now your bed pillows are going to be a little bit squishier, so maybe you take a couple different ones. You can take 2, maybe 3 and stack them upon one another. Another great option is depending on what your couch cushions look like, you could kind of deconstruct your couch and take one of those and use it instead. Also, in place of this, you could also just use a couple rolled up blankets. And then lastly, talking about our blocks. Now, if you do not have any foam blocks, you can use maybe like an encyclopedia, a couple stacks of books, just something that's fairly structural. If you were to place any weight upon it, it's not going to collapse. Maybe a small box. So those are just a couple of things. Know that if you are a City Yoga member, we're happy to kind of get you some of these props to get you through the next couple of weeks. Just reach out to us and let us know. But I think that's about it. And then hope to see you in a couple of these deep stretch classes. Hey guys, Chelsea from City Yoga here. We are going to do a deep stretch class, the 60-minute class here. Just to let you know, we're going to work spinal health today. We're going to work extension. We're going to work flexion, lateral bending, as well as rotation, just to get a full, well-rounded practice through the spine and vertebrae. So we're actually going to begin on our backs, and I'd like us to find a supported reclined position. So if you've got this bolster or maybe a pillow, you're going to take it back behind you and you're going to take the edge of your pillow or your bolster right up against your tailbone, and you're going to start to lower yourself down upon it. Now, if you're looking for a little bit more height, you could also use a combination here of your blocks, making a deeper incline. And then you can just start to lower your upper body down upon the bolster. And then options here as we start, you can extend your legs out in front of you, reaching heels to the bottom corners of the mat. If you require a little bit more support in your low back, then I encourage you to bend your knees, keeping your tailbone heavy onto the earth. The other option that you have here is to take the soles of the feet to touch and butterfly your knees out to the side, maybe arriving here in a Supta, Baddha Konasana shape. And as we begin to relax and melt deeply onto your mat and onto your bolster, start to see if you can allow your shoulders to roll down and outside the edges of the bolster to create a lift of the heart and the chest, creating expansion through the clavicle. And allow the palms to flip up and allow the arms to be heavy. Begin now to close your eyes. Find a gentle part of your lips by releasing your tongue from the roof of the mouth. And then draw a deep inhale into your nose as we fill your belly, chest, lungs. And an audible exhale out the mouth, release and empty. Let's take 2 more together. As you inhale, you fill. Exhale, let it go. Draw a deeper inhale in as you find expansion. Exhale, release as you find softness. You can continue with this deep rhythmic breath. You can allow your breath to travel back to its natural rhythm, finding that ebb and the flow of your inhales and exhales. Noticing if the breath is catching in places, and see if you can take your in-breaths really deep so they extend not only beyond your belly and lungs, but maybe they start to penetrate your hips and shoulders, arms and legs, until each in-breath fills the body entirely. exhale breath allows for release. Follow your in breath. Long exhale. Noticing if you're holding any tension into your glutes or your hips, shoulders, or jaw. See if your in-breaths can create softness. Your exhale breaths, creating space. We're going to take just a few more deep rounds of breath together here. Let's take about 2 more. Begin now to take your thumb to your pointer finger, your thumb to your middle finger, your ring finger, and lastly your pinky. Start to create movement back and forth between your thumb and your fingerprints, feeling the heat in the hands, the palms, maybe beginning to generate movement into your wrists, warmth into your forearms, movement into your elbows. And if you have healthy shoulders, your next inhale, you begin to reach your fingertips back behind you. Finding that length through the trunk sides of the body, your biceps arrive by your ears, and you reach fingertips to the back of the room. Now, if you want to create some movement in your fingertips and wrists to release any stagnant or sluggish energy, you can here. You can shrug shoulders into your ears, creating length of the subscapula. And then when you're ready, take your hands beside your hips. If your knees are out wide or extended, we're going to start to bend your knees back toward one another so the soles of the feet come down onto the mat. Now a little counter stretch. If you were in that Supta, you're going to drop your knees to touch and then walk your feet to the wide edges of your mat, creating this little triangle shape from the inner edges of your ankles to the inner edges of your knees. Feel the hips together. Take a couple rounds of breath. Begin now to separate your knees. Walk your feet back in line with your hips. And then we are going to carefully roll to the right side of your body. So very carefully dismount from whatever is underneath you here. And when you come up to the right side of your body in field pose, just begin to move everything out from underneath you, just pushing it off to the side, clearing your mat of any debris and props. And as we come to the right side of your body with your knees bent, we're going to take that bottom right foot and we're going to reach that right knee to the top edge of your mat. So we're kind of sagging your legs here a little bit. Maybe the sole of that left foot is the top of that right thigh. And we're going to take this left hand, reaching back and locate that right foot, ankle, or maybe your shin. Now, if you cannot reach this here, you're going to locate your strap or that towel and loop it around that right foot to find additional length into your left arm. Now, as we guide that right heel in towards your right glute, that right knee should begin to travel forwards. The top of the knee is perpendicular to the bottom edge of your mat. Now we're going to create this little quad stretch here, and you're going to take this right hand, place it on top of that left thigh, and we're going to start to spiral open. So we want to open up the chest towards the sky, rolling that left shoulder down to your mat. You want to try to keep that left knee rooted as much as you can into the earth. If this is really intense, go ahead and locate that bolster and place it underneath that left knee to give it a little bit of height. You can still place that right hand on top of that left thigh, navigating that left shoulder down and send your gaze over to the left edge of the room. Now we're finding that rotation of the spine, wringing out the tissues along the vertebrae. If you want more into the outer edge of this left leg, you're gonna hike that left knee towards your right ear a little bit more. And then you're gonna roll that left shoulder down and create that rotation of the spine. Taking deep breaths all the way down to your tailbone. And exhale all the way up through the crown of the head. Keep that left hand upon that right foot or strap, working to guide that heel closer in towards your glutes. Finding that rotation through rolling that left shoulder and upper arm bone down. Maybe even send that left ear down to your mat and allow your head to relax. Feeling a stretch in the right side of your cervical spine. If this is too intense, you can always send that left foot back to the front of the room. That's going to take a little bit of rotation out of the spine, creating less resistance into the outer edge of this left hip, piriformis, and glute muscle. Taking a couple deep rounds of breath, find that rotation. And just begin to watch in your mind's eye that breath as it moves down the spine with each inhale. With each exhale out the crown of the head, creating more space and opportunity to twist further into the shape. If ever this is too much for that right knee or right quad, you can just release the left hand from that right foot and just allow that right leg to reach forward, finding a more standard supine twist. Let's take about 5 more deep rounds of breath here. Maybe taking it to your edge for the spine, 3 inhales and exhales. Very gently take your gaze back up towards the ceiling. We're going to start by releasing that left hand from that right foot and extend that right leg forward if it isn't already. And then we're going to roll onto that right side once again. If you've got that bolster underneath that left knee, you can just scoot it out of the way. And then we're going to pull that right knee underneath the left, rounding the spine here for a moment in your fetal pose, stacking left shoulder and left hip upon the right. Taking a deep breath. Now we're going to roll onto the back. We're going to work extension of the spine, so also known as back bending. I'm going to come to the side, but you're going to stay where you are. So you're going to bend your knees, taking the soles of the feet down to the ground and your heels in line with your sits bones. Now you're going to locate either your block or whatever you're using instead of a block. If you do not have a block, you could use a rolled up blanket or this bolster instead. Pressing into all 4 corners of both feet, we begin to lift the hips up 1 vertebrae at a time. And then we're going to slide this block underneath your fleshy parts of the glutes. So imagine where the pant pockets in your jeans are is where I want that block to land. That means that the block is nowhere on your vertebrae. If anything, the top edge of this block is just touching your tailbone. We're working to create traction of your sacral and your lumbar spine here by finding that stability of your hips. If this is too intense at this medium height, feel free to take it down to a lower height. Some of you might be able to take it up to the 3rd height, and if you're doing so, then you're going to take that block to be linear to your spine rather than horizontal. So start to settle in here, finding the softness of the glutes, the length of the back, and then we're going to work into that extension. Now, if you suffer from sciatica or SI dysfunction, you might want to forego where we're going next and just stay here in this bridge position. But if you'd like to go a little bit further, begin to slide your feet forward to the bottom corners of the mat, allowing your legs to be heavy, your toes and thighs to splay out to the side. Feeling that deep psoas stretch to the front sides of your body. Notice if you re-clenched your glutes and see if you can find softness once again. And then if you still want more from here, you can start to reach your arms up overhead, taking the backs of your arms on top of the earth. And then if you still want more here, feel free to frame your head by taking right hand to grab left elbow. Left hand can grab right elbow, and then you press your forearms deeply into the mat. And then relax the back of your head onto the earth. And just rest here soft. Taking deep breaths all the way down into your belly, into your hips. Allowing the legs to be completely relaxed. If you came here and you begin to experience discomfort, pinching or pulling into your low back, a couple different things you can do to troubleshoot. You could take that block down to be a lower height. You could switch a block out for something a little squishier, like a blanket or a pillow or your bolster. If you still can't manage that discomfort of your low back, then I would encourage you to keep a bend in your knees with the soles of the feet onto the ground so that your low back and glutes stay nice and supported. Taking a few deep rounds of breath here, allowing your body to be heavy in this shape. So with this extension of the spine, you feel a gentle compression. You feel that length of the low back. A nice safe back bending practice to create mobility of the spine. Because a mobile spine is a healthy spine. Let's stay here with our breath for 5 more rounds of inhales and exhales. You are grabbing your opposite elbows. Begin to reach your fingertips to the back of the room, releasing that little frame of the head. Reach and extend before sending your hands back beside your hips. Once your hands are firmly beside your hips onto your mat, begin to bend one knee and then the other. Once the soles of the feet are heavy, begin to press into your feet, lift your hips up, and we're going to slowly remove that block and roll down nice and slow, one vertebrae at a time. When you feel your tailbone hit the earth, release your pelvic floor, and that natural lumbar curvature will occur. And then from here, we're going to roll over onto our left side. So if you used a bolster on your right side, you're going to go ahead and grab for it and bring it over to the left if that was helpful. But we're going to come into that fetal position. So coming in onto your left side, you're just going to relax your head down, stacking right hip and right shoulder on top of the left. And then from here, we're going to reach that left knee to the front edge of your mat. And then take that right hand and you're going to reach back and locate the left foot. Taking that left heel in close to your hips. If you cannot grasp for that left foot, go ahead and loop that towel or maybe even that strap. And then from here, you're going to take that right knee and you're going to start to stagger your legs, maybe drawing that right knee towards that left elbow. And then as you exhale, we're going to rotate that right shoulder down, opening up the heart and chest towards the sky. And then send your gaze over to the right side of the room. Where that drishti and that gaze goes, the body will follow. So once again, we're finding a spinal rotation through the opposite side. If you liked that support underneath that right leg, go ahead and grab for that bolster or maybe a pillow to place underneath the knee and the shin and the ankle for some support. Left hand can always be placed upon that right thigh if you'd like to give yourself a little bit more manipulation and traction. You're pressing that right knee down and then rolling that right shoulder open. Maybe you start to take that right ear towards the mat. Not forgetting about that left leg. If you can, draw that heel in closer to your hips. If you can, send that left kneecap to be perpendicular to the bottom edge of your mat. If this is too much, if you're working with problematic knees, you can always just extend that left foot forward and take this less engaged supine twist. Start to roll that right shoulder down. Bringing the breath all the way down to your low back. And watch it spiral up the spine, energetic chain out the crown of your head. If you need more here, take that right knee towards the back of the room. If you need just a little less, go ahead and take that right foot forward. You kind of find your sweet spot. You can still feel the engagement at the outer edge of this right leg, all the way up into piriformis in your low back. So keep a stag leg position and work into that rotation up the spine. And breathe deeply. If that right shoulder is hovered away from the mat, see if you can plug that right elbow down, working up the arm, the bicep, and then maybe that right shoulder eventually starts to come towards the mat. Maybe that right ear comes down. You can drop your chin towards that right shoulder. Let's take 5 more minutes of breath. Two more. Let's take the gaze up towards the sky first. Release that right hand from your left foot if it isn't already. Extend it forward. And then we're going to roll over that left side. Let's find a little fetal position as your counter pose. You've got that bolster underneath that right knee. Just go ahead and move it. Stack your body around your spine. Allow yourself to relax. So we worked rotation, worked extension. We're going to start to work lateral bending, which is moving the spine right to left. So we're going to start to come onto your back. Now Mike is going to stay in his position, but I'm going to move to the side so that you guys can see where we're going to place the bolster underneath your hips. So you're going to bend your knees into your chest. Just give a little squeeze here, pressing your low lumbar spine deeply into the mat. Drawing knees in towards the sternum. If you'd like to find lateral movement, you can here, side to side. You can take a little rock back and forth. You can pulse your knees into the chest and then away. Whatever movement is calling to you after that rotation. And then set up the same to that supported bridge pose. You're going to drop your feet down, heels land in line with your hip bones. You're going to grab just your bolster or your pillow this time. So we're going to press into your feet and you're going to slide that bolster horizontally once again underneath your hips so that you've got a pelvic support. And then lower the hips down here. Now we're going to start to extend your feet out in front of you. I want to note if already this is uncomfortable for your back or your hips, You can just forego using the bolster and you can stay with us doing exactly what we're gonna do. As you inhale, reach your arms up overhead. We're gonna start to find a little banana shape with our hips slightly lifted. So you're gonna crawl your hands over to the top right corner of your mat, keeping that left shoulder firmly rooted. And then you walk your feet to the bottom right corner of the mat, taking both feet to the bottom corner here. If you want more, you can take that left ankle and cross it over the right for a little bit more intensity. Now tune into the left side body. You're finding that extension all the way from the left ankle to the left fingertips, like a little crescent moon shape. But I want you to bring focus to that left hip and shoulder. If it's lifting off and away from your mat or from the bolster, plug it back down into the ground. If that means that you need to take your hands and your feet closer back to center, then do so. If you need more, you can take that right hand, grabbing that left wrist and track it further over to the right. Now you can send your gaze wherever you'd like here. Your gaze can go down towards your right underarm if you find that's more comfortable. If you want to take your gaze underneath the left underarm, you can. But we're working that kind of side bending of the spine. Left hip is down, left shoulder is heavy. And then we start to reach over to the right with each exhale breath. Noticing the space we're creating into the left side body, the space in the rib cage, the space in the outer hip, and piriformis, psoas, all the way up to your fingertips. If left ankle crossing on top of the right is ever too intense, just uncross. But keep your little C shape here as you reach your hands and your feet over to the right, creating just a gentle compression into the right side body. Take about 5 more deep rounds of breath here. You feel as though the body can go a little bit further. You can move your hands and feet further to the right. You can just stay where you're at, embracing the sensation. You've got that left ankle crossed on top of the right, uncross. Start to walk your feet and your hands back to center. And for a moment here, just create a long stretch. Notice that maybe you feel a little bit lengthier through the left side body, a little bit taller through the left hand and foot. We're going to work to create some symmetry by walking your hands over to the top left corner of your mat. And then you're going to walk your feet now over to the bottom left corner as well. So we're going to find that same shape, just on the opposite side. You're finding that lateral bend and rotation of your vertebrae. You can send your gaze towards that left underarm or maybe over to the right, as long as your head is heavy onto your mat. You roll that right hip down, roll that right shoulder down. And if you want more, cross that right ankle on top of your left. If you still want more, left hand can locate right wrist, and you can go further over to the left side of the room. Now creating that same space with the right side of your body. I'm going to draw a breath into the space to fill. Exhale to maybe find a little bit more depth. If you're working with a little shoulder discomfort, you can always take your hands closer back to center.
I'm going to try to have that right bicep by the right ear, even if that means you're not leaning really far over to the left. That way you're still getting that sensation, that stretch through the subscapula, the underarm, that quadratus lumbar, all the way down to your right ankle. Bring focus to the hips. Notice that that left hip is heavier than the right, and see if you can distribute the weight equally between them. And then bring the focus to the shoulder, same thing. See if you can find equal weight, that right shoulder onto your mat as well as the left. And breathe. Let's take about 3 more deep rounds of breath here in the shape. If your right ankle is over the left, we begin to uncross. As you travel hands and feet back to center, you find that reach, that length. Acknowledge the symmetry between right and left side. And just take your hands beside the bolster. Bend your knees one at a time. Press into your feet. Lift your hips as we slide that bolster off and away from underneath you. Rolling down nice and slow. Once your tailbone hits the earth, pull the knees back into your chest slowly. Allowing your thighs to press towards your belly space and your low back to round. Finding that length in the posterior chain, your tailbone might lift slightly away from the mat. If you want more, you could always draw your third eye towards your knees, belling it nice and tight, creating the entire length of your spine. And then gently we're going to come to all fours. So you could use a little momentum, rocking and rolling, or you could roll over to your side as we start to come into spinal undulations. Now we are going to come to all fours here. I want to note that if you have knee problems, you might want to take something, a cushion underneath your knees to provide a buffer between your knees and your hardwood floors if you have them. Spread your fingertips really wide here. We're going to start to stack the joints. Wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath your hips. Now, if you've got rudder shoulders, walk your hands a little bit further apart. And as you inhale, we're going to arch your back, drop the belly down, send your gaze up, and open up the chest, the front of the room. As you exhale, chin to heart, navel to spine as you round. We're going to start to move through your cat and cows here. Just acknowledging where you hold resistance into the back side of your body, and you can start to move into those places. So if that's your outer hips, you may want to take your hips right to left. If it's in your neck, you can send your gaze over opposite shoulders. We're just finding spinal undulations here, creating movement of the synovial fluid through your spine, your hips, your shoulders. Good. I'm just going to take a few more rounds of breath here, playing with these shapes, this movement. So we're going to start to work flexion of your spine, also known as forward bending. So you're going to meet me with your neutral spine. We're going to drop onto your hips and send your feet out in front of you. Now we're going to come into a Janu Sirsasana shape. So you're going to take the sole of that left foot and hug the inner right thigh. Now before we start to move on, I want you to look at this right leg and ensure that the right ankle, knee, and hip are all in one straight line. If you're hugging onto that left hip, go ahead and grab something and wedge it underneath this left leg.
You want to flex your right toes back towards the crown of the head. Now, if you've got a combination of things, we're going to start to take a forward fold. I'm going to show you a restorative version as well as a more active version. The restorative version is a combination of taking your pillow or your bolster and maybe a couple blocks and wedging it into your hips, and then forward folding, allowing your head to just fall. If you want something to be a little bit more active, you're going to locate your towel or your strap, and you're going to send that strap to the ball of the right foot so that you maintain flexion. If you need to, you can create a little micro bend in this right knee. Hands arrive to your strap. You begin to sit up nice and tall, making sure that your shoulders and your hips square off to the front of the room. We send an inhale to the crown of the head, and exhale, we begin to fold. Now, since we're working flexion of the spine, it's okay here to drop your chin towards your chest so that you can round the back, but I want you to keep your shoulders down and away from your ears. Working to plug your hips firmly into your mat, your exhale begins to drape your body and torso over that right extended leg. Think about reaching the crown of the head towards your right toes. Think about folding a little bit deeper here, maybe dropping your forehead and third eye towards that right knee or shin. Deep breaths. So as well as the flexion in the spine, that space, that rounding, that forward folding, we're getting engagement into the backside of that right leg. Finding a hamstring stretch. You're going to stretch into the bottom of the foot, the Achilles tendon, as well as your calves. So whether you're taking the version with the strap, or maybe a more passive restorative version with your blocks and your pillows, just imagine folding deeply. Keeping your hips rooted. Make sure your hips are not opening up to the left side of the room. You want to plug that right femur bone back into the hip socket, almost like as if you're shortening that right leg to draw that left hip back forward so that you can fold, maintaining your level pelvis, low back. Let's take 5 more rounds of breath. Allow your exhales to send you further into that forward fold for these last 3 in and out breaths. Whether your hands are on a strap or your body is folded over a pillow, you're just going to start to walk your hands back towards your hips, sitting up nice and tall, find a nice long spine. Deconstruct whatever you have or send your strap off to the side. We're going to find a little rotation of the spine here. You're going to take that right hand behind you. This left hand is going to arrive outside that right knee or thigh. Sit up nice and tall. Reach the crown of the head high. Exhale, you press left hand into right thigh to rotate the spine and send your gaze over the right shoulder. Inhale, we lift the heart. Exhale, we twist further. If this is a lot for your low back, you can take a pillow or maybe a blanket underneath your hips to elevate your hips. Or you could even set a block or something of a little bit of a substantial height underneath that right hand. And then think about pressing that right hand down and rotating on your exhale. Inhale, we lift the heart. And exhale, we rotate. Really send your gaze to the back of the room. Again, bringing out the tissues along the spine.
Holding for 2. Unravel your neck first, sending your gaze to the front of the room, and then the upper body follows. As we untwist and unravel, we're going to take that same thing on the second side. So you're just going to send that left foot forward to meet the right. And then we're going to bend this right knee. The sole of the right foot comes to the inner left thigh. Again, let's do a little check of this extended left leg. You want your ankle, knee, and hip all in line with one another, and your hips and your shoulders square. If you need to take something and place it underneath this right knee so that you're not leaning to the right side, you can do so now. You have the same options here. You have that more restorative version. I would prefer if you took the same thing from right to left side. So if you took that restorative version, you're going to grab maybe your stack of blocks or books and a couple of pillows, placing it into your belly space so that you can start to fold over that left leg. Now Mike is showing you the version with the strap. So you're going to take that strap, you're going to loop it around the ball of that left foot, maintaining flexion. If you've got really tight hamstrings, create a bend into that left knee, always knowing to never lock out that knee joint. And then we start to forward fold here, drawing your belly down towards that left thigh, reaching third eye and forehead towards that left shin. And since we are working that flexion, it's okay to drop your chin towards your chest. You don't have to hold the head up entirely so that you can allow the upper body to fold you deeper into this shape. Notice if you're twisting to the right. See if you can square it back off to the front of the room. Plugging now that left femur bone back into the hip socket. So it's almost like you're shortening that left leg. And then that right hip comes forward, and then you fold a little bit further. If you can start to visualize your breath, sending your hips down deeper into your mat. And then your exhales folding you further into the shape. Let's take a few more rounds of breath here. Send about 3 more rounds of breath into the back side of that left leg. As we exhale, go a little bit deeper into the position. Whether you have looped up that left foot or you're laying upon your bolster, we're going to start to walk your hands back towards your hips, stacking each vertebrae upon one another. You can deconstruct your tower if you took that restorative version. We're going to come into that seated twist. We're going to place that left hand back behind you. This right hand is going to ride outside that left thigh or knee. Sitting up nice and tall, keep the flexion of that left foot. As you reach crown of the head tall, exhale, we twist and send your gaze over that left shoulder. Now don't crunch your shoulders up into your ears. You're going to rotate them down into the upper back. And your gaze goes over that left shoulder to the back of the room. Same modifications apply. If you need to lift your hips, you can do so. If you need to place something underneath this back left hand so that you can get that leverage to really twist and gaze the back of the room. Another option here as we find this rotation, this twisting, this releasing. For 3. 2. Your gaze is going to go forward and start to unravel. All right, so from here, you're gonna grab and take everything off and away from your mat. We are gonna come onto our bellies. Now I'm gonna come to the side once again. Mike is gonna stay where he is at. And if you want something a little bit more in this position, you're gonna find your bolster nearby, something accessible. We are gonna start to work extension once again. So as you come onto your belly, we're gonna come into what's called a Sphinx pose. Now in your Sphinx, you're gonna take your elbows underneath your shoulders. So a common thing I see here is really elbows are close into the rib cage and you're not gonna get the lift that you need. I'd rather you take your elbows even slightly in front of your shoulders just to ensure that you're not squeezing them in towards the side body. Wrists in line with your elbows, and then you're gonna press your forearms down deeply into the mat, pressing elbows, and you start to pull the heart and chest between the gate of the biceps, rolling shoulders down away from your ears as you thread the heart forward, pressing your pelvis and pubic bone deeply into your mat. Now here we are again, we're finding that extension of the spine by opening up, finding a little baby back bend. Now some of you might be very flexible and wish to go a little bit further. Two options for you. You can take your bolster, place it horizontally, and drape your arms here. The lift here is going to give you a little bit more to press your forearms into it, shoulders down away from your ears, keeping hips down onto the mat, reaching crown of the head tall and heart forward. The other option, if you do not have something that's structural in that manner, you could always come into a seal pose. You could press into your palms, begin to lift your elbows and forearms up and away from the mat. And again, don't take the shoulders into your ears. You want to press the earth away, bringing heart forward. You can even walk your hands a little bit wider here if you need to. And then breathe, pulling the heart forward, opening up the chest, and finding that back bend. You could try a combination of a few and then arrive into a shape that feels best for you. And begin to breathe into your hips, and you can root them down further into your mat. If you start to have any tension or pain in your neck, you could grab for a block and place it in between your wrists and then drop your head down, giving your head a little bit of support here. You're still pressing through the forearms as you draw your chin to your chest. That is just if you're experiencing any discomfort there into the cervical spine. Okay. We're going to take 5 more rounds of breath here. Relax your glutes, pull the chest forward, press the tops of the feet firmly into the mat. Shoulders further down away from your ears. Let's go for 2. Final 1. If that block is there, your bolster, send it out of the way. And you're going to come all the way onto your belly. Now we're going to stack the forearms to get out of your shoulders here for a moment. Drop your third eye down onto your wrists and forearms. And then just start to bend your knees as we windshield wipe right to left. We release the low back. Do you find your windshield wipes, your hips might start to lift as we go side to side. This is a good transition to our next lateral bending exercise, as well as our flexion. So we're going to take a little combination here for our next pose. We're going to straighten out your legs once your sides are even. Taking your hands underneath your shoulders, we're pressing into a child's pose. Your big toes are going to come to touch and your knees are going to go wide as you lower hips towards your heels. If this is a lot for your knees, go ahead and grab a blanket, placing it behind your knees, or maybe even a bolster to rest your hips upon.
Your knees go wide to allow your heart, belly, and chest to sink between the gate of the thighs as your head comes down, massaging your third eye deeply into the mat. Now, so here we're finding length of the spine. We're going to start to find lateral movement. We crawl our hands over to that right edge of your mat. As you take both hands over to the right, maybe this left hand can come on top of the right and you drop your head down here. Now you're gonna roll that left shoulder down in towards your mat. You're gonna plug that left hip crease back, keeping your low back nice and level. And your head just starts to fall. Your arms are heavy, and your heart and chest lowers down to the mat. And just take nice deep breaths into your left side body. If you need more, you can always send that right hand back outside of that right ankle, or you could place that right palm down and twist a little bit more, sending your gaze over that right shoulder, elbow, as you take that left ear down to your mat. Just a couple different variations depending on how far you want to move into the shape. If not, just stay here, lowering your hips back with each inhale towards your heels. And each exhale softens the body deeper. Let's take about 5 more rounds of breath here. Maybe walk your hands further over to the right. Maybe that left shoulder becomes a little heavier, coming down towards your mat a little further. Next inhale, we're going to walk our hands back to center nice and slow, reaching fingertips forward before we start to crawl them over to the left. On your exhale, start to walk your hands over to that left edge of your mat. Maybe now it's that right hand that comes on top of that left, rolling right shoulder down. Your right ear can come down, your head can come between your biceps. Plug your hips back towards your heels, rotate right shoulder and right hip down. And then breathe into your right side body. Again, same options here. If you want to send that left hand back, taking the top of that left hand outside of your left ankle bone, you can. You can place that left palm down and use it to press and twist and rotate a little bit further. Maybe that right ear comes down to the ground and your gaze moves out towards the sky. Just a couple options as we hold. Let's take 5 more rounds of breath. And now to walk your hands back to center, reaching both fingertips to the top of your mat. You can inhale, exhale. On your next inhale, we're going to come up to all fours, releasing your child's pose here. If you need to move your hips side to side, you can. But we are going to come onto our backs. So you're going to drop down onto your hips. I'm going to come sideways once again. And then you're going to keep a block or a bolster nearby. And then from here, we've done this setup a couple times now, we're going to find a supported inversion. If you've got really tight hamstrings, you might benefit from having your strap nearby so that you can loop both feet up and hold your feet upright. You're going to grab for that block or maybe even that bolster, lifting up your hips, send it horizontally at your low back. Now, if you're using the block, you're going to take it to its very lowest height. If you're using the bolster, it's also going to go horizontally underneath your body. Now, you're going to have to take it a little bit further up to your low back to find that support. And then we're going to take both feet up towards the sky. So as you take both of your feet up, we're going to find this nice supported waterfall here. Now you see Mike over there has a combination of his bolster as well as his strap to ensure that his feet can stay upright over the hips for a few moments here. If you're really struggling and your heels are going forward, you feel this more into your low belly, that's where I want you to grab that strap and start to reach your toes back so that you can find a little ridge at your low back, taking your hips slightly higher than your heart. We spend some time reversing the blood flow. It is okay if your toes start to become a little tingly here, just the blood rushing out and away from them. When your feet return back down to the ground, they will return as well. We hold here. If you're craving a little movement here towards the end of your practice, you can always draw tiny little circles in the ceiling. Just giving your low back a little acupressure, a little massage. Don't forget to send your circles in the opposite direction. Here, finding that supported low back. Closing out our practice for your spinal health. We are going to stay for 5 more rounds of breath. If you're at home and you wish to take your feet up a wall for more support, you can. You could even stay there and mix some amount of time moving into your Shavasana time. Let's go for 3. 2. Carefully lower the feet down, 1 at a time. If you've got a strap around your feet, remove the strap first. And as you set your feet down, you're going to lift your hips up, take whatever is underneath you out from underneath you, and then just roll down nice and slow. Walk your feet to the wide edges of your mat, allowing your toes to turn out and your heels to come in. Windshield wipe your knees, right to left, giving your low back a gentle massage, finding an internal and external rotation of your hips and inner thighs. A couple things here, you could stay here going side to side for a little while longer. If you like, you can guide your knees in towards the chest, rounding your spine once again, pulling the knees in. Little reclined child's pose. But if and when you're ready, we're going to move into our final resting position of Shavasana. A couple options. You could always take that bolster long ways underneath the spine like we began practice. If you want, you could take that bolster horizontally behind your knees and just allow your legs to spin out to the bottom corners. Doing this especially if you have any low back issues. If you need more comfort, you're going to take that bolster closer up towards your hips. It's going to provide you more support. And allow your legs just to rest heavily. Your arms come out to the side, your shoulders roll down and back, and your eyes begin to close. Unclenching your jaw and your temples. Finding darkness and softness behind the eyes. Finding a passive, filling breath.
Allow the back side of your body, the areas touching your mat, to become heavier. Begin to bask here in full and complete relaxation these last few moments of practice. Please know that you can stay as long as you'd like, as long as you need. If you're ready, again, to bring movement into your fingertips and toes, wrists and ankles. Your next inhale, reach your arms up overhead, stretching long, stretching tall. For guiding your knees into your chest to give yourself a reclined hug, taking a moment of gratitude for your healthy body and for the opportunity to bring yoga from our space to yours. Carefully rolling to your favorite side of choice. You could stay in this fetal position for the remainder of practice, or you can start to make your way up into a seated pose, Sukhasana. Keeping your eyes closed as you sit up nice and tall, stacking shoulders over your hips, crown of the head high. Lower shoulders down away from your ears, and the spread of the heart and the chest. Again, to bend your elbows, taking your hands to heart center and allow your thumbs to fall to that sternum space. Taking a moment here to honor this place of love, this place of compassion. As we inhale, we send the thumbs to third eye center, bowing together to say Namaste.